Welcome back, geometry students, to another Regents review video. This is the Geometry Common Core Regents exam for January 2016 for the New York State Regents exam. These will be the solutions to the January 2016 exam. This will be part 1, questions 1 through 12 on this exam. If you are here to copy my answers and the work shown, please refrain from doing so. The Geometry Regents is not an easy exam by any stretch of the imagination, and it is hard. So please reconsider if you are here to copy answers. If you are here to check your answers, you're in the right place, and I welcome you, and I will always be here to help. Without further ado, let's begin the January 2016 Regents exam. All right. Number 1 says, William is drawing pictures of cross-sections of the right circular cone below. Okay, fine. Which drawing cannot be a cross-section of the cone? Now, cross-section by definition is if you take your object and you slice it up or down, left or right, horizontally, vertically, diagonally, wherever, which of the following can be a two-dimensional representation of that slice. So the only one that cannot work is choice 1. And choice 2 can work because the triangle's right here. That's if you cut it vertically. Choice 3 shows a parabolic shape. And that's if you cut the cone on a slant. If you cut it on a slant, then it will create a parabolic shape. And this oval shape, it could be cut horizontally, or it could be cut a little bit on a diagonal up here, for example. That could be an oval shape as well. But the only one that cannot be formed with this is going to be choice 1, which looks like a square to me. All right, number 2. An equation of a line perpendicular to a line represented by the equation y is equal to negative 1/2 x minus 5, and passing through the point 6, negative 4 is what? So it says here a line perpendicular. You need to know that perpendicular lines have negative reciprocal slopes. So if we know that, and we know the equation of the original line, which is negative 1/2 x minus 5, your first step is to take negative 1/2, and you're going to take the negative reciprocal of that. So you're going to flip the fraction, change the sign from negative to positive, or positive to negative depending on what it is, but you always change the sign. So in this case, negative to positive. So your new slope is 2/1. Okay? Now, it's passing through the point 6, negative 4. You should have this drilled and burned in your brain by now. If you were given a slope and a point on the line, you are going to use the point slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. You take your slope that you have, and you take the point, and you plug it in. So you get y minus a negative 4, that's your y value up here, is equal to the slope of 2 times x minus 6. So now we just continue to solve. We distribute that 2, and we change that negative 4 to a positive because 2 negatives give you a positive. So that's y plus 4 is equal to 2x minus 12. Subtract the 4 on both sides, and you get y is equal to 2x minus 16, which is choice, what is that, choice 4? Yes, it is. Choice 4 is the answer for number 2. Okay. This question is a step up in difficulty level. Let's go ahead and read through this. In parallelogram QRST shown below, diagonal TR is drawn. U and V are points on TS and QR respectively, and UV intersects TR at W. If the measure of angle S is 60, and the measure of angle SRT, so SRT, which is over here, is 83 degrees, and the measure of angle TWU, which is up here, is 35, what is the measure? What is the measure of angle WVQ? That's right here, that angle out here. So, it's a parallelogram. We know a lot of things about a parallelogram, but we have to get over here. So how do we do that? Well, let me run your brain a little bit here. In a parallelogram, consecutive angles are supplementary. So there's a little angle in here that you could barely see, but it's there. That angle right there, We don't have that angle, but we need it badly. So consecutive angles are supplementary. So that's going to be, so I'm going to call that x real quick. We're going to solve for x. So it's 60 plus 83 plus x is equal to 180 degrees. Now, that x is going to be equaling 37 degrees when you solve for x. So that little guy right there is 37 degrees. Now, vertical angles are congruent as well. This angle over here is 35. The angle across from it, which is its vertical angle, is also 35 degrees. Now, I want to zone in right here. And this is really, really important to understand. Let me pick a different color here. I think orange would be good. Okay, so, yes, perfect. Look at this. Look at this here. Here we have a triangle and an exterior angle. Do you remember the exterior angle theorem of a triangle? The exterior angle, if you don't know this, write this down. The exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two non-adjacent interior angles. What in the world does that mean? Well, I'll be happy to tell you. This exterior angle right here, that yellow angle right there, is equal to the sum of the angles inside of the triangle that is not next to that angle. So it's equal to this angle, which is 35, plus 37. So the measure of angle WVQ is equal to 35 plus 37, which is equal to 72 degrees, which is going to be choice 3. That's how you do question number 3. Kind of a tricky question, not to lie. Number 4, fish tank is in the shape of a rectangular prism. In other words, it's a box that has the dimensions of 14, 16, and 10. All right, and it says here the tank contains 1680 cubic inches of water. What percent of the fish tank is empty? So you don't necessarily have to draw a figure, but I mean, I always like to because it kind of helps me figure out what I'm doing. I usually encourage to draw figures. So the dimensions are, let's see, 14, 16, and 10. So the volume of a box is length times width times height. Therefore, that's 16 times 14 times 10. That should be pretty easy multiplication. That is going to be 2,240. That's how much the tank could hold. However, it says the tank currently contains 1680 cubic inches of water. So therefore, we're trying to figure out emptiness. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 1680 and divide it by 2240. That will give me an answer of 0.75, which is equivalent to 75%. What this is telling us is that the tank is currently 75% full. It's 75% full. If we're looking for emptiness, it's 100% minus 75%, which is going to be choice 2, 25%. So be careful with the wording of that question. Number 5, which transformation would result in the perimeter of a triangle being different from the perimeter of its image? Well, different means dilation. A dilation is not a rigid motion. And remember that dilation is a scale factor that's being multiplied. So you're multiplying under a dilation. Choices 1, 2, and 4 do not show a dilation. Choice 3 shows a dilation because your x values and your y values are being multiplied by a scale factor of 4. Choice 1 is actually showing a reflection over the line y equals x. Choice 2 is showing a reflection over the x-axis. And choice 4 is just showing a simple translation. So none of those answers make absolutely any sense. So choice 3 would be the correct answer in this problem. All right, number 6. In the diagram below, FE bisects AC at B. Okay, so AB is congruent to BC. Cool. Then it says that GE bisects BD at C. So this is congruent to this. Great. Which statement is always true? Okay. And this actually goes back to your knowledge of numbers. and number theory and properties of numbers. But now it's in geometry. Watch what I do here. AB is congruent to BC, right? BC is reflexive, and BC is also equal to CD. This is called the transitive postulate. And what the transitive postulate states in terms of algebra, I want you to know in terms of algebra, if the letter A is equal to the letter B, and then the letter B is equal to the letter C, we could conclude that A must be equal to C, and this is called the transitive postulate in geometry. So if AB is equal to BC, and then BC is equal to CD, then AB must be equal to CD, and that's why it is going to be choice 1, and that is all due to the transitive postulate. So make sure that you know what the transitive postulate is. Number 7, as shown on the diagram below, a regular pyramid has a square base whose sides length measure 6 inches. If the altitude of the pyramid is 12 inches, its volume in cubic inches is what? Well, the volume of a pyramid, based off of our reference sheet, the volume of a pyramid is right down here. Volume is equal to 1/3 capital B times the height. Now, you need to be careful. Capital B represents the area of the base all the time. Anytime you see a capital B, that represents the area of the base. Well, the base is a square, so the area of a square is length times width, which is going to be, well, if all sides in a square are congruent, that's 6 times 6, which is equal to 36. So that's capital B right there. And your height is 12. So the volume is equal to 1/3 times 36 times 12. Plug this into your calculator, and you get an answer of 144 as your answer. Moving on to question number 8. Triangle ABC and triangle DEF are graphed on the set of axes below. Which sequence of transformations maps triangle ABC onto triangle DEF? Now, the key word here is sequence of transformations. When I first looked at this question, I said, oh, got to be a rotation of 180 degrees. Yeah, that's true, but that's not a sequence of transformations. So we need to figure out which one is and which one's correct. Choice 1 says a reflection over the x-axis, which is over here, so it's flipping upwards in this direction, followed by a reflection over the y-axis, so it's going to end up over here. Does that work? Yes, it does, and I'll tell you why. And this is like really important for the reading, so make sure that you know this. 2 reflections is equivalent to a rotation. Do you remember that I just said that this was a rotation of 180 degrees? And it is. It is a rotation of 180, but that's not one of the answer choices. You had to know that 2 reflections is equivalent to one rotation. So that's why number 8 is going to be choice 1. The other ones just make absolutely no sense. I mean, it's just doing way too much to put this onto this image. It just makes no sense. So choice 1 is the best answer. Number 9. In triangle ABC, the complement of angle B is angle A. Which statement is always true? I hope that your geometry teacher beat this into your head. But if he or she didn't, let me do it for you. The sine of A is always equal to the cosine of B. And it just said in the instructions that B is a B is a complement of A. And sine and cosine are cofunctions, which are complementary. So if we're talking about complementary functions, complement. So that means 90 degrees. Angle B and angle A, when you add those together, they have to add up to 90 degrees. And the sine of A is equal to the cosine of B, because sine and cosine are cofunctions, which are complementary. So if we're looking at the answer choices, no. Haha. Choice 4. The sine of A is always equal to the cosine of B, and that's just a fact that you just have to memorize for your geometry regents. Number 10. A line that passes through the points whose coordinates are 1, 1, and 5, 7, is dilated by a scale factor of 3. So it's dilated by a scale factor of 3 and centered at the origin. That's good that it's centered at the origin because this line does not pass through the origin. So that's good. The image of the line is what? Okay, well, you need to know that dilations preserve parallelism. That's important. So if dilations preserve parallelism, it's choice 2. The image is parallel to the original line because, again, dilations preserve parallelism and they also preserve slope. But if you preserve slope, you preserve parallelism at the same time. So that doesn't really make a difference in the wording. Number 11, quadrilateral ABCD is graphed on the set of axes below. When ABCD is rotated, so it's rotated 90 degrees in a counterclockwise direction about the origin, its image is quadrilateral A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. Is distance preserved under this rotation, and which coordinates are correct for the given vertex? Okay, the first thing that you have to think about is, does a rotation preserve distance? And the answer is yes, because a rotation is a rigid motion. And a rigid motion, by definition, preserves distance and congruency. So choices 1 and 2 are out of here. It has to be either 3 or 4. Now we just have to look at the coordinates that we're talking about. So when you rotate 90 degrees, I want to make sure that we know this. If we have the coordinate xy and we rotate 90 degrees, your new coordinate is going to be, you flip the coordinate and you change the sign of the first number. So this is the transformation rule for a rotation of 90 degrees. If we take a look at the original coordinate A, because that's what it's saying down here, A prime is 6, 2. Let's take a look at the original A. That's negative 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is the point negative 2, comma 6. If I take this coordinate and I rotate it by 90 degrees, that's going to be, let's see, negative 2, 6. We flip it. We get 6, negative 2, and we change the sign of the first. So your coordinate should be negative 6, negative 2. Is that the same thing as 6, 2? No. So that can't be it. Let's take a look at choice 4. Point B is the point 4, comma 3. If you rotate 4, comma 3 by 90 degrees, will it equal negative 3, comma 4? Well, we flip the ordered pair, 3, 4, and we change the sign of the first. So yes, it is. Choice 4 is the correct answer for this question. All right, and last but not least, number 12. In the diagram below of circle O, the area of the shaded sector LOM is 2 pi centimeters squared. If the length of NL is 6 centimeters, then what is the measure of angle N? Well, we need to know the area of a sector formula. So the area of a sector is N over 360 pi r squared. Okay? Now, they told us that the length of NL is 6. Okay. Well, the radius is 3 and 3 because the radius is 1/2 of its diameter. They already told us the area of the shaded sector, which is 2 pi. Here's your goal. This is what we're missing. We're missing this. That red angle. We need to find that red angle right there to determine the measure of angle N. So we need to plug in our information. So we have our area of a sector, which is 2 pi, and we have our radius, which is 3. Plug it into the area of the sector formula. So A is 2 pi. So we have 2 pi is equal to N over 360, pi times the radius of 3 and square it. That will become 2 pi is equal to, well, 3 squared is 9. So we get 9 pi N over 360. Now what I do is I always multiply by its reciprocal. So you multiply by 360 over 9 pi, multiplied by 360 over 9 pi. These cancel to the right. Now on the left, you just type this into your calculator. The pi's cancel, and you get N is equal to 80 degrees. Now, N is equal to 80 degrees. So I'm going to clear out my information here on my circle. And angle N right here is 80 degrees. Now, No, I'm sorry. Little n from the formula is 80 degrees, not angle n. It's this angle right here, not this one. Sorry, that was just a little confusing. Now, this angle MOL, I'll call it angle MOL, that's what's called a central angle. A central angle is not one half, it's equal to the arc it intercepts. So if this is 80 degrees, the measure of arc ML is also 80 degrees because a central angle is equal to the arc it intercepts. Okay? So let's take a look now at angle N. Angle N is called an inscribed angle. And an inscribed angle is 1/2 the arc it intersects. In this case, it's arc ML. So if this is 80 degrees, we take 1/2 of 80 and we get 40. So the measure of angle N is 40 degrees, which is choice 3. All right, that is the end of this video, and I hope that it was helpful. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel for more math content, and visit www.nysmathregentsprep.com to find the videos in a nice organized format and so many more math resources for geometry and all levels of New York State mathematics Regents exams. And I will see you soon.